claimed as the precondition to language learning, to language development. Sine qua non is just a word that means it's a prerequisite, it's a precondition for language learning to happen. So essentially what we are saying here is that if the input is minimal, then the learning is also likely to be minimal. If the input is substantially available, I think we can expect more language learning, language acquisition to happen in the classroom. Now with technology, what is so wonderful about technology is that input is just a click away. You know, as long as you have access to the internet, I think you can get your students to be immersed like 24/7 a day, pretty much. Yeah, being exposed to a variety of language input presented in different ways by different people from different places in the world. Yeah, in the form of ebooks, graded readers, TED talks, Netflix, talk shows, and so on and so forth. I have some examples here from TED talks. Great example. These are very, very interesting video materials where the students can get a lot of content as well as a lot of language input in the same way. Yeah. If you're teaching English for academic purposes, for example, you'll be able to find a lot of very interesting and very comprehensible presentations by a lot of people from different places. Yeah, these are just some examples. This one is my favorite. If you are teaching psychology students, for example, I think this video clip is just wonderful. Or even better if you read the whole book by Angela Duckworth on the power of passion and perseverance. Okay? Just to help you become a little bit more convinced about the importance of providing students with a lot of input, now in this case through technology, let me share with you what this professor, Richard Day, says about the importance of input provided through extensive reading. Yeah, let me read to you very slowly. Good things happen to students who read a great deal in a foreign language. Research studies show they become better and more confident readers, that's proficiency. They write better, that's proficiency. Their listening and speaking abilities also improve, that's proficiency. And their vocabularies also become richer. Yeah, vocabulary is an enabler. I think you need a lot of vocabularies in order for you to be able to use language easily and fluently. Maybe some of you may be asking about where do we get all these wonderful materials from the internet? Here is an example. Yeah, Storyline Online, freely available 24 hours a day. If you're teaching young children, then this website is an excellent source of language input. If you're looking for something that is more ASEAN or Asian in nature, the Asia Foundation has made available a lot of books for children, which you can read online or which you can download for free as well. Here are some of the examples from the collections. Yeah, the kind of reading materials which can provide students with a lot of language input for their language development. Okay? This website is just wonderful. It was developed by an English language teacher from Japan, actually, and this website provides hundreds, if not thousands, of free listening and also video materials. And the materials are graded according to easy, not so easy, and the more challenging listening and video materials is called ELLO. Now, if you have some money, I hope you do, I think I should mention this to Maibu. Maibu, I think you need this for Vietnam. If you want more specialized kind of resources that you can make available to your students, then X-Reading might be the answer. Because some of you may think that input is a bit difficult. Input is everywhere, but at the same time, teachers don't have a lot of time to put together their materials. Now, this digital library provides more than, right now it's more than 1,500 graded readers. Graded readers are essentially reading and listening easy, easy material, easy graded reading and listening materials that the students can access 24/7 a day. I think there's some universities in Thailand, and also in Indonesia, in Japan in particular, in Vietnam, I think there's one or two universities or schools that make use of this digital library. That's L1. So the key thing again, input is important. Yeah? Without input, it's very, very difficult for us to help the students improve on their language proficiency, and technology is just there for us to use. Second point is the concept of language processing. So researchers have been saying that input alone is not enough. The language in the input will have to be highly accessible. Yeah. If you are looking for a simple word to use, the language will have to be easy. The language will be at their level, at the student's level, or sometimes the language can be at the level slightly below the student's current level. Yeah. Anything that the students can read without help, without support, dictionary, without support from teachers and all that, is a very good thing when it comes to language processing. And finally, the content. This is probably the most important. The content will have to be so interesting, will have to be so compelling that the students will continue reading, or continue listening, or watching a movie until they get to the end. And when they get there to the end, they want to do it again. They will tell you, teachers, I want to read it again. I want to read another series, either book series or movie series. Here's some examples of the kind of things that we need to be thinking about here. The kind of reading materials or listening materials that are so interesting that the students want to do it without actually you asking them to do. They will just do it because they like it, because they want to do it. Yeah. Now here are some examples of teenagers, young people, and not so young people who have benefited a great deal from receiving, from exposing themselves, immersing themselves to a lot of language input. The lady here, when she was a teenager, I think she's from Korea, I think she learned a lot of language just by being immersed to a lot of language input through books and so on. This girl is from Thailand. I met her a few years ago. Her English was just wonderful. And she told me that she used to watch a lot of Disney cartoons, movies. This boy is from Vietnam. I know him. I know the parents very well. The latest update from the parents is that his IELTS score is somewhere close to 8.0 now. When I first met him, he was like 7.0, but now it's close to 8.0, and he speaks English very, very well. The last two are teachers of English from Indonesia. Their English are also very, very high in terms of their ability to use the language for social communication as well as for academic communication. Maybe something that we need to discuss is this: what do we actually learn from the input? Is it the vocabulary, or is it the grammar, or is it both? Answer please, audience. 1, 2, or 3? Yes, thank you so much. I think most of you raised 3. It's both grammar and vocabulary. The technical name for this is lexical chunk, or lexical bundles, or formulaic expressions, and so on, which are extremely, extremely important for language proficiency development. We don't learn grammar individually, we don't learn words individually, but we learn both together as fixed formula, as fixed expressions. Here are some examples. Let's just have, we just have to make do with it. I'm sorry, let me make it up to you. You can make fun of me all you want. Good news made my day, and there are many other examples like this one. First one is, this one is on me. Maybe next year when I bump into Maidu again, and when she takes me to a restaurant, she will say things like, hey Billy, this one is on me, dinner is on me. Right, Maidu? Lovely to see you, and there are many other examples like that. What we know from research is this, that competent, proficient users of any language in this case English, they have hundreds, if not thousands, of these fixed phrases in their head. Now, this is the kind of language chunks that are useful to help the students to develop their ability to have spontaneous conversations with other people in the real communicative context. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, language use. Yes, we have learned a lot from the input, we have learned a lot from the kind of processing that we do, and the last bit is also very important. It's about language use. Essentially what I'm saying here is about practice. Yeah, the goal of language learning is to help our students become fluent users of English, and there's no other way but to engage students in repeated, in regular, in daily practice of actually using the language, either for speaking or for writing purposes. If you're looking for a method, there's no name, but I've come across one method, and the method is called again and again method. You simply have to do it again and again and again until you become very fluent, until you become very good at what you are doing. There's no other way. You simply have to do it again and again. If you look at this as an example, the guy on the left-hand side is a very good badminton player. And yet, what he is doing now is practicing, hitting the same shuttlecock again and again, again and again, until he becomes very good, very fluent, very accurate, and very effective as well. So fluency development is about practicing what you are already good at. Now, apparently this one is a bit missing in our teaching. So this is what happens when you do a lot of practice, a lot of repeated practice in language use. You become more fluent readers, you become fluent listeners, you become fluent speakers, and you become also eventually fluent writers as well. So, in summary, language use means essentially is based on the principle, very simple principle, that people learn to read by reading, yeah? And people learn to speak by doing a lot of speaking. The next one, please fill in the blank. People learn to listen by, yes, I hear you, by listening. And the last one, people learn to write by, yes, I hear you, by writing. So again, the 3 L's again. If you are really, really interested in helping your students develop their English language proficiency with or without technology. Now today, you have to use technology. Yeah, pay attention to the 3 L's. Language input, language processing, and language use. Now if technology is used in that way, supported by a strong set of second or foreign language teaching principles, can the use of technology improve proficiency? Raise your hand again, please. 1, 2, or 3. Yes? The answer is most likely yes, because that's what we are, that's what research tells us about the process of language learning and the process of developing proficiency in the English language. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, technology is going to stay here for a very long time. And what you need to remember is that technology alone will not make, any important changes in the quality of students' learning. We have to make use of good pedagogy, and we have to apply, in particular, English language teaching pedagogical principles in order to support our students' foreign language proficiency or second language proficiency development. So, back to my question earlier on, can technology improve language learning? Feel free to fill in the response or tell yourself whether or not technology is going to be helpful for your students' language proficiency development. Ladies and gentlemen, these are all free books for you to download. It's all available in my website, Willis ELT Corner. All free for you to download if you do it before the end of the conference. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.